All right, let's talk about one of the most high-stakes projects any team can take on, the app redesign. It's so much more than just a new look. It's a huge strategic decision that can literally make or break user trust and your bottom line. So let's dive into how you can actually get it right. So here's a scary question, right? Is your app redesign doomed to fail? Because way too many of them launch with this huge bang, only to be met with a ton of user frustration, ratings that just plummet, and super costly rollbacks. In this explainer, we're going to unpack a data-driven framework to make absolutely sure that doesn't happen to you.
Okay, first things first, we have got to get our definitions straight. A redesign is not just a fresh coat of paint. No, this is a fundamental business decision, and it impacts everything from your user retention all the way to your revenue. The most critical part of this definition is that last little phrase, without affecting what already works. A successful redesign is all about improving what's broken while very, very carefully protecting what your loyal users already know and love. Think of it like a surgical operation, not a demolition job.
And this slide, wow, it just lays it all out, doesn't it? On the left, you've got a true redesign, a process that's totally grounded in data, improving how the app actually works. But on the right, you have the makeover, which is all about assumptions and trends. One builds real value, and the other, well, it usually just swaps one set of problems for a whole new one.
So how do you know if you really need a redesign? Well, you don't guess. The data tells you everything. You see things like retention charts taking a nosedive or a constant stream of one-star reviews. Those aren't just opinions. They're measurable, hard signals that something is fundamentally broken. If you're not seeing these clear signs, you might just need a few small tweaks, not the whole shebang. Okay, so let's flip this around. Because honestly, understanding why redesigns usually fail is the very first step to making sure you avoid those same traps.
And yep, here they are, the usual suspects. See a theme here? They're all about taking shortcuts and just ignoring the evidence. Changing a navigation pattern just because your competitor did it. Or worse, launching to all of your users at once? These are just unforced errors that lead straight to user churn and those one-star reviews we all dread.
Man, this quote really hits the nail on the head. That temptation to just start from scratch is so strong, right? But if you don't have a deep diagnosis of what's actually broken right now, you're just shuffling the deck. You're not fixing the game.
Okay, so enough doom and gloom, right? How do we actually avoid all this chaos? With a process. This 5-phase framework is designed to take your team from all that chaotic guesswork to data-driven clarity. So check this out. This framework is your roadmap. Notice how it doesn't start with design? It starts with diagnosis, auditing what's broken and setting crystal clear goals. From there and only there do you move into UX and strategy to fix the core problems before a single pixel of visual design is even considered. Each phase builds on the last, systematically taking the risk out of the entire project.
And that's really the whole point, isn't it? The goal is to get to a process that delivers results you can actually measure. It's not about making something that just looks better. It's about making something that works better and being able to prove it with cold, hard data.
Now for everyone's favorite topic, money. Let's break down what actually drives the cost of a redesign, because if you don't understand the budget, you can't plan for real results.
Okay, this chart is super insightful. Notice that a pretty big chunk of the budget, like 10 to 20%, is dedicated to discovery and research before any design or code gets written. Spending that money up front, that's what saves you a boatload of cash and headaches down the line. It's that classic idea, measure twice, cut once.
And here we go, let's talk real numbers. As you can see, a simple UI refresh, just a little paint job, is pretty cheap. But a true UX redesign that includes research, testing, and development, that's a serious investment because it delivers a serious return. The scope is what dictates the cost.
Okay, so you've done all the hard work. You built the shiny new design. Now comes the moment of truth, the launch. This is where you can either build on all that user trust you've earned or, well, break it completely. A safe launch really starts with low-risk engineering. This means using tools like feature flags, which are basically a dimmer switch for your new design. They let you turn it on for just a tiny percentage of users, test it in the real world, and roll it back in an instant if anything goes wrong. It's not rocket science, right? It's just really smart planning. So that leads right into the actual strategy for the rollout. Whatever you do, never hit the big red button and release to everyone at once. Start small,
Monitor your key metrics in real time and have a clear oh-no plan for what to do if things go south. This controlled approach protects your users and it protects your brand.
But does all this careful planning actually work? Oh yeah, it does. Here's a real-world result for you. A targeted redesign of just the onboarding flow, rolled out carefully, led to a 22% drop in users just giving up. That just goes to show you that small, data-driven changes can produce massive gains. And hey, if you're bringing in a partner for this, this is basically your cheat sheet for hiring the right one. A great partner talks about data, testing, and metrics from day one. Their portfolio might look beautiful, but it's their process that's going to determine whether your project is a success.
And that right there, that's the big takeaway from all this. It's the process, not just the pixels. A well-validated design that solves real user problems will always, always win in the long run.
So, as we wrap up, I'm going to leave you with this one final question to think about. When it's time to plan your next redesign, are you going to build it on the solid foundation of evidence or on the shaky ground of assumptions? The choice, and of course the results, will be all yours. Thanks for joining this explainer.